This is Freeloaders. I'm Mike Papa Foxtrot.
And I'm 3T.
Freeloaders is a regular look at what is or has been free to download from the PlayStation Network. We download the games and give them a play and see if they're worth the download, bandwidth and time.
This time we're looking at Evil Dead: The Game, a survival horror game based on the Evil Dead franchise. Featuring cooperative gameplay as well as PvP combat, the game stars the legendary Bruce Campbell as main character Ash, along with other members of the supporting cast from the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show. Developed and published by Saber Interactive in 2022, these are our first impressions. What's your history with Evil Dead as a movie franchise then?
I've watched some of them, obviously. I'm not as into them as perhaps you are. I have to say, though, I haven't actually seen the reference that this game is referencing. I haven't seen that one. I don't think I've seen it.
Well, I recently watched the remake again, actually, and it was much better than I remember. But the TV show, it really does go up and down, because I was first introduced to this. I watched this the same way I watched the Alien franchise, in that I watched it in reverse, because I remember I saw your copy of Army of Darkness, and was like, what is this mad comedy, stupid, weird, it's so bizarre. And then I watched Evil Dead 2, and I'm like, oh, this is very different. And then I remember I watched Evil Dead, and I was like, this is awful, this is horrible. But I like them. I think they've got a real charm to them, and they really, when they lean on the comedy horror, that is their strength, and it's a good thing that they know that, because the TV show, I've seen the first season, and again, it's just funny. Bruce Campbell is good at action and comedy, but he's a really good jack of all trades. I mean, that's a good pun, because he was in a show called Jack of All Trades, I think. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. I like, you were saying yesterday about don't really like zombie things, and I think Deadites are kind of a very unique play on zombies, in that it is just demons taking over bodies and then having their way with them, and then moving on.
But that's the thing. I mean, I can take zombies or leave them. I mean, I quite enjoy, for example, The Walking Dead. I thought that was all right. It was the soundscape in that annoyed it. Just like the current press X to play menu on this is currently deafening me. But the thing is, zombies seem to be the problem with zombies is that in films they kind of fall into those two sort of categories, where they're the sort of very fast moving zombies that are terrifying, more like sort of spectres of the night kind of thing, like a cross between a zombie and a vampire or something like that. They just appear, they move very quickly. Now I find them terrifying, but the slow moving zombies are even more terrifying. But then Evil Dead isn't just about zombies, so it's
they're not really zombies. No. It is kind of it's like you've gone on a holiday somewhere remote with your best friends or your family, and a demon has inhabited them, and now you have to murder them, and then just before you finish murdering them, they're going to give you their face back and have them cry at you so that you have to kill them while they look like the person you love. So Evil Dead is really horrible.
It is more like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, is where it actually comes from.
But with demons instead of aliens. That kind of thing.
I mean, maybe demons and aliens are one and the same.
Let's ask Biden. He's shot a few down recently.
Or did he?
No.
Why would you come this far for this? It's no. Anyway, I mean, the Evil Dead. Seen it? Haven't seen the latest. I just haven't seen it. Haven't made time for it. Haven't gone out of my way for it. I think that's the thing. I've got to the point where the last few years I look for more happy things than dark things, and that's why I think the TV show is a really nice medium, because it's got all the horror stuff, but it's also just a group of goofy weirdos who are just making their way through it all, and the remake of the film has a really good play on it, because it's shown they go to this remote cabin because one of the main characters is trying to she's kind of cold turkey off of a drug addiction, so there's that question of how much of this is real and how much is just her horrible cold turkey addiction. And there's some really nasty body horror stuff in it that is so cleverly filmed that I nearly Oh, my stomach is quite strong, but it turned my stomach the first time I watched it. I know that. There was a film I watched recently which was a bit
like that. Or was it a television series? I can't remember. They all blur into one where the whole thing was filmed from two different vantage points. So one of our main characters, everything that you see, it's like it's filmed like it's a game show or a one of these like Everyone Loves Raymond type shows, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But then from the other character's perspective, it's like a doom-laden horror thing, because like you can clearly see, and the sets are identical. It's just the lighting and the music, and like, for example, when character A walks into a room, there's like an applause and a laughter track and things like that. But when character B is doing something, there's like this sinister music playing when she's reacting to, or when character B is reacting to character A, and it's just it was one of those things that I caught. I actually caught it on TV. I very rarely catch stuff directly on to air TV, and I watched it, and I couldn't quite wrap my mind around it. I was trying to work out if it was some kind of comedy program or not. And then the person that I was watching it with said, "Oh, no, it's this. You've got to see it." And then they told me the name. I can't remember what it was called, but it was just really interesting because our B character really hates the A character, but the A character doesn't know, and the A character is living in this happy la-la land, and it reflects, and it's interesting because it's an interesting look at what different people see, because, I mean, as we've discussed before, true evil villains don't actually know they're evil.
No, they have a purpose, don't they? And that's, whereas
exactly.
Evil Dead villains are they're the personification of evil. This franchise goes all out to say, if the devil is real and his minions wanted to toy with you, this is what they would do. And I think that's kind of like, whoa. But great, because then you stick somebody like Ash in the middle of it, who is giving the audience a knowing wink whilst also suffering the most horrendous torture and torment. So yeah, it's such a unique thing, and I am a fan. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but I do enjoy the Evil Dead films and TV shows. So I'm not sure what we're going to get. Obviously, there is some co-op gameplay. We can do PvP. I'm intrigued to see what it's going to offer and how it's going to offer it.
Shall we push X and see what happens?
All right. Well, that's me rambling enough. So yes, pressing X to play. Oh no, an evil end-user license agreement. The worst thing I could imagine.
It's in keeping with the thing. And it also scrolls very slowly.
It's really
slow. Oh no, you can just push it. You can just push accept. You don't even have to read it.
Well,
I feel
the need to do it so that if this is all recorded, then at least what I've agreed to is now captured forever.
I will say the music is a little bit loud.
Yeah. It's. I hope you can turn it down in some way. Let's go straight to that. In fact, settings, audio. There we go. About 50% will be fine.
Master audio.
That'll do me.
Oh yeah. Blessed be the relief.
Oh, hang on. You have to save settings as well. You have to press triangle, otherwise it'll just say, "Do you want to?"
I'm turning the music right off. I mean, the funny thing is, usually with these games, there is usually nothing. It's funny, the music doesn't always go there. I'm turning I'll leave the voices fully up, and the narrator can stay on, I suppose, and then save. And then I suppose I should also look at the controls while I'm here as well.
I was just going to learn those on the fly. There is a tutorial option, but I'm not sure if we want to spend time doing it or not. It's up to you.
Are you sure you want to go back? You will lose all your changes.
Yeah, you have to press triangle to save it.
I did push triangle, though. Okay. I'm pretty sure it did. I mean, that's why the music's gone quiet. Back. Yes, because I was playing in there. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I say we just jump in and play.
Okay, let's see if we can do some kind of... You must complete the tutorial before playing. Well, then why even give me an option?
Well, these are our first impressions. Okay, so tutorialize me then.
Do you want to be a survivor or a demon? I'll do the opposite.
I don't know. What do you fancy?
I'll try. I'll be a demon then.
I'll be a survivor.
And we might have to do both. I could imagine now after that. You must do this.
This is an evil game.
It is. Oh, what kind of demon do I want to be?
I am getting Friday the 13th like vibes which is interesting.
It's
I've decided what type of survivor I'm going to be.
okay. I am going to choose a plague bringer.
Lovely.
And I'm going to be this skeleton guy because Army of Darkness was my first introduction to the franchise, and I think just an army of skeletons all going, "Let's get the hell out of here!" is very funny.
Anyone who wants to read the tips, you push K, and then you use the full stop to move one frame forward at a time, and then you can go through all of the tips because I'm just rotating through them.
Oh,
anyway,
I see. Mine
and then when you finish reading all the tips, you push K again, and the video goes back into full play mode. If you want to skip forward, press K. Press L. If you want to skip back, press J. Anyway,
so we're getting different stuff here. Oh my god!
A lot of people don't actually know that J, K, and L are actually the control system for video playback systems.
Oh, I don't know what you're getting, but I'm getting an incredibly.
I'm not in the game yet, so.
So, you're familiar with the way that the evil is sort of represented in the films?
This is Professor Raymond.
A little bit, yes.
You know when the camera that speeds through the trees at you?
Yeah.
Okay, well this is how my tutorial is being presented to me. I am floating freeform through the scenery at full speed like I am the Evil Dead. That is incredibly clever and thematic.
Okay, I'm just changing my y-axis.
I'm not reading any of the tutorial stuff. So press L.
Execution of the following instructions may
L1.
dispel the spirit.
Can't read. I'm an old man. L1 to return to your spirit form.
Oh, nice.
Go back.
There are several pieces of a map.
I was expecting to meet you, if I'm honest, and then I realised that we won't.
No, we want to find a way to link up if we can. But where's all my? Oh no! See, I've sped through it all because I was enjoying being that spirit. Now I have to. If you don't have enough infernal energy to perform possession, collect more orbs. How do I possess?
I think being the survivor might be easier, you know.
I don't know. I think this is a very clever system. End possession. Hold L1.
This does feel, if that's the case, this does feel, again, going back to like the Friday the 13th kind of idea. It feels a bit like that because, like, there was that, the chase on. I'm picking up well, it's not Coca-Cola, is it? Because, you know, that would be the desired choice. This is an evil game. So we'll move on. Skipping the brand that it was. Yeah, I feel I'm very on rails in this tutorial, so that's interesting.
I am literally. I've got like a path to follow, and it's showing me all the prompts, but I'm not reading them because I've just possessed a skeleton, and I'm enjoying walking him round, and he's having a little chat to himself, like a comedy character.
Tutorial limit. You. Literally like crime tape. I cannot leave the area. That is brilliant. Oh, I love this. I'm just going to hug the tutorial wall. Oh, God. What was that? Oh.
I can possess a vehicle. as the Evil Dead. Not? I can possess a vehicle. Oh, my God. That's brilliant. Leave the car. Hold L1 to return to your spirit.
Legendary weapon, the most powerful weapon, but the hardest to find. Collect. I like my sword, but I'll go with it. Can I throw this? How do I throw this? No. Right. I just missed a tutorial. What was that? What did that say?
Variety of actions, raise your threat level.
Light attack, heavy attack.
Deliver unto me fire starters.
Wheel. Oh, yeah, it's a wheel. Okay. What's that? R3. Execute. These are pretty much. I tell you what, the moves for the survivor is pretty much your standard kind of like. They're pretty standard. They're the standard things that you get. So you know, execute a finisher or special attack R3. I mean, we've seen that in games before.
Okay, yeah.
You know, stealth up behind someone, push it. Then there's like light attacks, you know, and things like that. And then there's also. There's things in slightly different places, like there's a marker system, so that you can tell people with you in your party, like, go here, do this, and then there's a wheel, like a selection wheel. I can't remember how I got to it just a minute ago, but I got to it.
I have marked something of significance
Yeah.
for all to see.
I've just reached the Necronomicon, but I haven't been reading anything, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to follow the tutorial. I am killing everybody I see, which is good fun because, you know, I can't trust anyone.
No.
Nobody can be trusted. You're going to love the character I picked. I've kept it very secret.
I wish I'd been reading this. I have no idea. There's now a cauldron of bubbling green liquid next to the Necronomicon, so, and a timer is ticking down, so... 69, nice. I don't know if I'm supposed to protect it or what.
I have to say, I like the slightly cartoony nature of the prompts that I'm getting, like search the house and the way they float. Very much like a cartoon. It is very much a cartoon.
Well, yeah, like mine are all like blood-soaked pages that have been ripped out and just they're floating in the air in front of me. Only the Book of the Dead has the power to banish us from the world, assume a physical form, and destroy the book. Oh, I've got to go get one of these guys and bring him here. Okay.
What was that? Oh yeah, I'll pick up that. I'll change
Summon the
weapons.
boss, L2 and R2.
This does seem to be encouraging me to pick up different weapons.
Oh my god, I'm a big witch.
Well, yeah, we knew that.
Now I need to destroy the book as her. Okay, I get it. I think.
I haven't met the Evil Dead yet. Well, not that I know of. Well, I suppose I have. I've met, I guess, possessed people. Either I've been killing innocents. Ranged combat. Ranged combat. Ah, shooting is the most effective way. Oh yeah, we'll have some of that. Collect. We'll have a range. Oh no, I want the big gun. I want the big gun. I don't want it. What do I want? A little gun. Can I?
Oh, I've run out of moves. What's that? R2? Oh, I've gone on the floor. Now I'm... Oh, I need another skeleton.
Why would I use ranged weapons? Ranged weapons are crap.
I need to bring a skeleton here, but they're all miles away.
Well, I'll tell you what. Guns, not your friend in this game. How do I swap back to the gun?
Well, unfortunately, yeah, for most weapons that are to be effective in Evil Dead, I would have thought you need to cut your hand off and replace your hand with one. Where's this skeleton gone? Can I be you? Come on, bud. Let's go and destroy that book.
Who wants to be first?
Can you
Use
run?
the revolver. Use the revolver to kill the deities. Okay. Where's the bloody revolver? I don't want the revolver. I wanted the big gun. Right, deities. Revolver. I think I've already killed the deities, though, so... What are you?
So what's your mission? Is just to kill stuff? To kill the demons,
I
yeah?
don't really know. Get into the vehicle and travel more quickly. Okay. Horn. Oh, it's your horn. It's deer. Okay. Yeah, it's standard... pretty much standard controls. There's a little bit different, you know, not exactly the same.
Well, I've learned now, so I've destroyed the book and I've completed the demon tutorial. I'm hoping it's not going to force me to do the human tutorial, but I can imagine it might.
The horn is in the wrong place. I mean, you know, the horn is not where I expected it to be. I mean, I knew where it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah, you only have to do one tutorial, so I'm quite pleased with that. So I'll just wait for you to do yours, and then...
Get out of the car. It made me get out of the car. Where do you want me to go, then? Exit the car. I have left the car. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm nearly here or not yet.
No, that's fine. It took me ages to work mine out. I couldn't see what I was doing.
It's just telling me to do things. I'm following the basics that it has. What was that noise? I've got to find the pieces of the map. Okay, find the pieces. Collection. How many more pieces of this map are there?
mysterious concoction.
I did used to have an Army of Darkness t-shirt. I just reminded myself of it because I think this witch character is based on the character from Army of Darkness, because I had an Army of Darkness t-shirt that just had the witch and it said, "Yo, she-bitch, let's go," which is what Ash says to her when he finally gets his boomstick back. Private match.
Well, I'm just collecting map pieces, apparently, at the
The
moment.
road survivors have gathered the final piece of the map. Make haste to the lost
I'm
pages of the
gonna see.
Necronomicon.
Looks
and
like it's
Kandarian
reasonably
Dagger.
straightforward to invite you.
I am covered in blood. I didn't know what that was. Something about getting the Dagarian dagger. Anyway, right. Hello, mate. Have you met Spade? Have you met this guy? Yep, there you go. It's my good mate Shovel. Right. What do we do with the... Oh, there's a lovely target range with a teddy bear. That's it. What do we do here? What do we do? The lost pages. Collect. Stay within the... What's this? Stay within the pages to activate the full benefit. Okay.
The lost pages of the Necronomicon have been
All right.
activated. Steel yourself
know
for
what-
battle.
Don't know how I activated that. Don't know what I did. Don't know. It seemed to do it itself.
Hold the lost pages of the Necronomicon, the rarest and most powerful.
I think from what you were
artifacts
saying
in
about
the
the Friday the 13th thing, I think there is an element of that because there was a sort of Fox and Hounds thing there, wasn't there, with like one person playing Jason and the other players
Yeah.
having to survive, and I think this has got a bit of that, but
I
probably
think
slightly more
this is-
cartoony.
Going to be a little bit more asymmetrical. What's this?
The group has begun.
The
to
options
collect
when you
the
play is a
Kandarian
splatter royale
Initiating
versus
a period
player,
of
where you
battle
cooperate with a
against
team
the
of
dead.
players to defeat the
Remain
the
close to
demon
ensure its
controlled by
collection.
one other player. You can play as the demon, and to defeat a team of players, you can just explore.
Have obtained the
You can
Kandarian
do a versus
dagger.
AI, or you
Legendary
can do private.
artifact
So
with
private
power
is
to
probably
burn
what we want to
undead
just
flesh.
experiment around in when we join.
Oh, a gun. Oh, another gun. I don't really want guns.
The lost pages and
I mean,
Kandarian dagger are in your possession.
It's very beautiful.
To banish the
Nice,
dark
but
ones
yeah,
back
I mean, it's
to
only
the
from
dead
last
ones.
year, so maybe it didn't do very well. Maybe they just didn't get very much publicity for it to come on to the free, in inverted commas, monthly games. Less than a year is
Bask
quite
in illumination.
Yeah.
interesting. Missions.
I don't really. This tutorial. I'll be honest. It's all very pretty and everything, but it hasn't really sold me on anything. If that makes. Oh, I found some dark ones. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm probably going down here. You need to go down, mate, because you is a problem. Yeah, that's right. You is a problem. The dark ones is a problem. Okay, how do we drop you? Oh, why don't you just keep moving into their line of fire? That would be really clever. That would probably be.
So there's missions to play.
Mate, meet Doug. Doug's my shovel.
There is
Oh,
no
God.
doubt that the demon will attempt
no.
to destroy the completed Necronomicon. You must not allow it.
It's got reasonably straightforward. Let's take a look at who the survivors
Yeah,
are.
you must have moved very quickly at the beginning. That's probably why your tutorial was over quickly.
I ignored everything. Unfortunately, I was halfway through the tutorial before I started reading any of the things. Because as the Evil Dead, as the spirit form of the Evil Dead, you do naturally move very fast. And that was what dazzled me. So I didn't stop to read. I was just enjoying floating around the world like the Evil Dead.
Well, I have a plan now. Right, we've both now played the tutorial.
Yes.
So we've played both sides of the tutorial. why don't we take a break here
That's a good idea.
from part one, and then we can team up, play asymmetrically, play a little bit of the missions, see what we think, and then come back with our thoughts.
All right, well, let's do that. So we'll go away and spend a bit of time playing, and you can join us in a few seconds to find out how that went.
So we've put some time into Evil Dead, the game, on both sides, both being the evil and the dead,
And the soon-to-be dead.
the Walking Dead, but not the Walking Dead because that's a different franchise. Yeah. So I mean, it was an interesting game. I mean, it had certain novelties about it. Unfortunately, because there was just the two of us when we were playing solo together, very large maps, really, isn't it? Very a lot of space to move about.
You travel quite quickly as the evil itself, and I think that's kind of cool.
Can't climb stairs, but you can destroy fences.
Yeah. Well, that's the first thing I think. I mentioned it during the tutorial, and I think that I've got mixed feelings about the game overall because it's quite playable. It's not hugely original, but it's very thematic because anybody who's seen any Evil Dead film will get that kind of the same reaction I did, I think, when you get to play as the Evil Dead, when you are literally this sort of camera running full pelt through the through the forest or through the scenery, and the ability to possess people, vehicles, zombies, demons, is kind of
traps.
Traps possess the trees. I mean, that's a big part of Evil Dead, isn't it? The trees do unspeakable things to unfortunate people in the woods. But it's I think I will be fair, and I will say it's very playable.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the comment that I had when we were when we first jumped in is that it was very cartoonish, which I quite liked. But then, sort of while we were running around, or initially in our first sort of run around, where we didn't have a clue what we were doing, which footage will be uploaded there, where you were the evil and I wasn't, and what was I?
Less evil.
The map felt too big for just us, and I found it a bit clunky, and I think we both had problems with the map. But once I worked out and compensated with that, like when we changed roles, I found you really quickly because I worked out. Admittedly, we are talking and giving each other information that perhaps we shouldn't be giving to each other. There was that one, like you said, "Oh, I'm in a car," and I immediately looked at the map and saw there's only one vehicle moving. Yep, that's you. So there are ways of dealing with a large map, but I think it's designed for, I would say, what, 5? Because I don't know what the thing is. There definitely seem to be 4 survivors required at least. You need 4 different classes.
Multiple survivors makes it fun. I would say would make it fun, because then you've got the option of, well, I'll do this while, but then because you can't, you wouldn't be giving away your plans to the evil, so the evil is then having to try and find you, and could easily jump in and ruin your plans. But I say easily, there's a really good balance system in that if you don't have enough energy stored up as the evil, you are really... I was frustrated. I caught up to you in that castle and was really pleased with myself. I set a load of traps, I stole your car out from under you, and then when I needed to do something to you, I had no energy, so I was like, I'll be back. And then you'd escaped. And so I really just shot myself in the foot. And I think that's kind of cool, because you have to, it's resource management as well as anything else. You're not all powerful, and that's a good thing.
Well, it was like when we were messing about, and I said, "Come on, I'll show you where I'll show you where one of the map pieces was."
Still didn't see it.
And I was blowing the fences away in front. Just follow the road, keep following the fence destruction line, and then I set you up with a trap. Are you going to open that crate?
Yeah, which I'm glad we saw, because all my traps fell really flat, and you didn't. I spent ages trying to find my way into the castle, set loads of traps, and then you said, "Oh, I just got out." And I thought, "Well, you didn't get out the way I just set a load of traps then."
No.
So yeah, I like it. I think it's as I say, I'm being fair. I think it's very playable. It's very thematic, and if you're going to make an Evil Dead game, this is probably one of the best ways they could have done it.
I think this is the only way you could really do it. To be honest,
I think so.
I mean, because it is. I mean, again, I found playing the actual Evil Dead itself, actually floating around in that non-corporeal form. I found that quite liberating. It's got quite a lot of floaty movement. The problem I was having was then transitioning to to actually sort of capture things and stuff like that, but like, or possess things. But it is quite nice. The problem is that you move at the same speed as a car.
Yeah, the chase was funny, but that's great, and I think that is the point of the Evil Dead franchise, is that ultimately, yeah, you know, you might get lucky, you might defeat it, but I think most of the time the evil pretty much wins. There's not many happy endings to any Evil Dead stories that I can think of, really. It's all horror and nightmarish, and even like end of Army of Darkness, spoiler, like you think, oh, maybe he's beaten it, and then you go, oh. So yeah, it's I think very good way of presenting it.
I quite like the way that the game also allows for you to play as the AI, or play with the AI. So the survivors can be AI, and then you can be or vice versa. It's got that mode. Has a missions mode. We didn't touch that. Not really. We were just enjoying, one-on-one, which I don't think is the way you're supposed to play this game. But it's the way we played it. But we had fun while we were playing it. So I can kind of say that it did give me fun while I was playing, and it had playability.
Definitely.
And it had there was a certain something to it. I mean, it didn't need the tutorial. I will say the first part that we had, that tutorial, as interesting as it was. That said, it turns out that I picked up quite a lot from the tutorial. It was so funny when we switched roles and I explained to you what the what my job was as a survivor. You were like, when did you learn that? In the tutorial. So it was. I think if you're going to make someone play the tutorial, you should force them to play both sides of the coin. Yeah. I would say that what would have been better for the tutorial would be that you go down an action. It was too much about picking up weapons, and for me, too much about picking up weapons, as you will see. Too much picking up weapons and opening crates and showing me how to slash and thrust, and which is more or less the basic keys. You know, it didn't need to teach me how to drive a car. It didn't. It had the prompts were on the screen, and probably at the point that I was in the car, maybe the tutorial should have then flipped roles and then showed me what it was like from your point of view, and showed me what I had to do to stop you, and then flipped back maybe to my point of view as a survivor to try and take care, and then flip. And I think that would have been a much better tutorial, rather than just show one side and then you're forced, if you want to know how to play the other. But I don't know, maybe somebody just wants to play one side of the equation all the time.
I guess so. I think people would have their favourites. It's kind of an interesting asymmetrical game, which I think takes us to another point then on our discussion points, which is, you know, what games is it like? Have we played anything like it? And our first thought, I think you even said it maybe when we were recording the first time, it's like that Friday the 13th game we've played.
It is like Friday the 13th. It's exactly like it. But here's the thing. I think that Friday the 13th still has a place in my heart. It has more of a place in my heart, perhaps, than this does, if that makes sense, because there was something about the Friday the 13th. It felt more balanced. great, and it was terrifying hiding under a bed when TV go away. Whereas this didn't feel terrifying.
No,
you know?
There's a real tension to the Friday the 13th. Just one-on-one, a game of hide and seek where there's no real stakes, but within that game, that is it. It's if he sees you, and then moving from like a cupboard to under the bed, back to a cupboard because he's already searched there, and you're genuinely sweating in real life, thinking, "Please don't open the cupboard." Whereas in this, it is just, "Oh God, a car's coming at me," or "Oh, zombies." And yeah, there's a few sort of jumpy moments where something will appear behind you, but this is much more cartoonish, I suppose, is what is.
Yeah, well, that's what I think I said that in part one. I said like the way the I felt. I mean, I didn't. Here's the thing: while I was being tutorialized, I didn't feel over tutorialized. I didn't feel punished that I was being tutorialized. But when I look back at that tutorial, okay, I learned a couple of interesting things from it. But I didn't need to be shown. I got shown the same thing again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And I didn't need that perhaps as much. I'm wondering if it would be. Like I said, I mean, again, you know, it's nice that there's a tutorial. It's nice. It is nice. It's nice if it's there. Again, we were forced to play it. I don't think that was nice, but you know, I mean, we've had played games before. We've been forced to play the opening level of the game before it unlocks multiplayer. And that you could argue is a soft tutorial.
Yeah.
You know, some of the Japanese games do that, where they hold your hand a little bit and then they slowly, you know, just as you start to play, off come the stabilizers, and now you're on your own. Congratulations, you can ride a bike. And this game didn't have that. It was like, let me show you what to do. And then when we initially then started playing together, there was a lot of confusion. Like, what do we do? Well, I've got to survive, I think I said.
Yeah.
So, very nice. I mean, fun while I was playing it. Definitely a fun factor there. Again, partly, and I say this every time, partly because of the person I was playing it with.
Yeah, we have a laugh, don't we? And we enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah. I don't know what the replayability is, though. That's the thing.
No.
Yeah.
It's. I think if you've got a group of friends who are all into horror or into the idea of this sort of asymmetrical game, you can do a lot worse. It's not the worst game that we've played by a long way, and it's good.
No.
It looks nice. I think one thing we haven't said yet, we were talking sort of while we were playing, it does feel a bit dated. But maybe that's because of, maybe they're trying to do that because the games, you know, the films are from the 80s,
but
largely.
90s, yeah. No, but I mean, but the thing is, we did actually say that as well. I did say it does feel a little bit old school, but then it was very smooth.
Oh yeah.
I think the only thing that disappointed me a little bit, and it was the same thing in the tutorial. It was hilarious. When I tried to escape the tutorial area, I got a message that said, "This is the outer bounds for the tutorial area."
Yeah.
You know, it's like a crime tape. We're going around.
I got that as well as the evil.
But yeah, I mean, because of course you've got to see what the. But in the actual map, on the actual map that we were on both maps actually, there's just like there's like a layer of fog that sort of says like, this is the edge of map.
Don't go there.
And yeah, and I think that is a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe they've done it because people want to know where the edge of the map is. What I would have liked to have seen is if you left the map, it's like maybe an animation of like spirits come up and sort of pick you up and throw you back into the map. You can't leave. That would have been maybe funny or something. Or there's no escape for you. Or as you get to the as you touch the edge of the map, maybe the Evil Dead gets told where you are as a punishment because you are on the edge of the map. Something like that. Something to sort of force you not to go to the edge of the map.
Yeah,
to
he's
make
trying
the
to
edge of the
escape.
map.
You know, don't let him get out.
But to make the edge of the map less obvious and not just sort of an invisible wall that you hit.
Especially because in the films they make an effort to be like, oh, the river's flooded, or oh god, the bridge is gone.
Yeah.
And why not just include a bridge that's out or a river that you can't cross instead of
or
a wall.
a sudden drop that you fall off or something, or just a canyon. That felt to me that told me that it was old. It's an old map design. But again, they might have just done it just because it's the way it is. And we have had that with some games. I think one of the early games we played, XCOM's maps were interesting because they were zoned. They were just like parts. You get a large tile of the map, and then they just randomly pick an area within inside the tile, and then they set like a hard boundary around it. So it is. I guess that's difficult. It's a difficult thing to decide where does a map begin and where does it end.
I don't know. I think it's harder to excuse it when it's built into the story of at least 2 or 3 of those films that it's based on. You know, the bridge is out.
But it's built into all horror movies.
Evil has destroyed your way out, or have it fog, or have you start taking damage from the evil. Like, oh, I've got to get back to anything. But that's a small niggle, really. You know,
or even you drive into the fog and immediately you drive back into the map.
You come in Pac-Man style on the other side. You know, like because you can't escape. That would be interesting.
So something like that. I mean, that's because again, it is built into almost all horror genre. There's no way we can get out, and the telephones won't be back on until next week.
Yeah.
I mean, even a Groundhog Day, which you could describe as a horror movie to a certain extent. Yeah. They have that joke where the telephone lines will be back next week. I am living the same day. so I mean, again. Minor quibbles. I can't actually say there's anything wrong with the game. Quite enjoyed it while I was playing it. Didn't really see any hidden catches in it, to be absolutely honest. I think it's the full game. I just don't think it's for me. That's all, which is a shame. And I also don't think it's for a lot of people I know either.
No, and let's cut to the basic, the crux of it, because this is how we sum things up. Is it worth the hard drive space and the time it took to download?
Yeah, I think it probably is. I'm glad I looked at it. It's not super massive. I mean, it's only 10 gigabytes of space. It didn't take that long to download.
No.
Is it worth the time I've already invested in it? Well, yeah, I enjoyed the time I've invested in it so far. Will I invest any more time in it? Doubtful. If I delete it from my dashboard, will I download it again? Probably not. And that's the honest truth of it, which is a shame.
No, I think I agree. I don't think I would have paid for it, but I would add the caveat to that if you are a massive fan of the Evil Dead franchise, I think it's worth getting, and I think it's worth downloading, because if you know a few people who like the Evil Dead or just enjoy the madness of the chase, it is a solid game, and it's not scary. It's funny scary like Evil Dead. So I wouldn't have paid for it. I think it's worth the money. I think it's worth your subscription. What's your feelings on that point?
Well, I wouldn't have paid for it. But I am happy to have played it, and so I think that actually getting it not for free but getting within the subscription is fine. But I mean, I was expecting it to be a little bit more scary than it was, but then you're right, it is supposedly funny as well, but then it wasn't funny enough to be funny, and it wasn't scary enough to be scary, and so that was the thing. It was sort of a bit of a so
exactly. I agree. Well, there you go. Take that as you will, I guess. That's our opinion. It's overall an okay game, but not necessarily to our tastes.
And so this is Mike Papa Foxtrot.
And this is Treaty, and we were looking at Evil Dead, the game, currently freeloadable from the PlayStation Network in February 2023.
The rift is not your burden to bear. It is simply the end.